So look, it's 2024. A new year is upon us, which means that it's that time when everyone reevaluates their life choices and what's going on. For content creators like me, it means looking at our channels and thinking what we liked and what we didn't like, and what we want to change going forwards. Which brings me to the point of this video. Also, if my voice sounds different, it's because right after I got COVID before my Christmas trip, I got a flu on my Christmas day / Boxing Day that completely wrecked my voice up until New Year's, and it's been slowly recovering. Yeah, I had a terrible time, to be honest, but the point of this video is that I am looking to put in some changes, and those changes do mean looking at also how I pay for this channel. And no, I don't mean spiritually, that soul being crushed by the weight of the transphobic shit I keep finding is the burden I bear for creating these videos. What I do mean is that this is going to turn into a Patreon video where I remind you lot that Patreon exists and attempt to encourage others to sign up to it. Like, okay, I know nobody likes those videos, but they are sometimes kind of needed. Especially because one of the big changes I want to do with the channel for this year, if I am able to, is to move from doing a video once every week expected to doing a video once every 2 weeks. This is predominantly because I want to give myself more time to focus on the research and the writing stage of the videos, to really do more of an exploration of whatever elements I might be discussing in the media that could be trans that I'm looking at. Now, I also want to briefly mention here that this isn't a definite hard change. If I get obsessed with something and finish a video really fast, then I might be inclined to release an extra video here and there. It might look like I'm still doing once a week. But ultimately, what this is more of a minimum that I'm setting to keep myself on track at releasing videos on some kind of schedule. A healthy thing to establish for my own work ethic. So what I'm really doing is just saying, at the very least, a video once every 2 weeks. But it might still just be a video every week for the next few months, because that's what I'm used to. There are other considerations as well. Trying to lean more towards quality over quantity, though trust me, the editing quality of these videos will not improve that significantly, because the only editor I have is myself, and I'm honestly not qualified at all to do editing. But I think even if I had the money to hire an editor, as a lot of people keep offering, and yet again, I cannot afford that, I don't know if I would do that. I'm very controlling of my projects and the specific vision that I have for what I'm writing and acting and doing and how that should be cut down and interpreted. And inserting another person into that process is a pretty terrifying prospect. Thankfully, it's also, as I just mentioned, quite expensive, so I've never really had to worry about it. But by giving myself more time to make each video, I'm hoping that will let me put more time into each video. We'll see if there's a direct correlation there between those two things or not, I guess, with how this change pans out. Regardless, this mentioning of money and costs does bring us to the other important thing to talk about here. A pretty seamless transition there, if you ask me. My degree is clearly not being wasted at all on this channel. Because yes, this change to the channel, this change to less frequent videos, is also being made with some economic worries from my side about it. Despite the fact that YouTube likes to limit ads on or demonetize some of my biggest and best performing videos over time, see the screen, that Harry Potter one there still annoys me every day because not a single dollar earned for bringing a gigantic amount of traffic and view time to YouTube just because the robots at Warner Bros. Don't actually check copyright and fair use properly, but just go, well, you used a song for like 10 seconds. can't get money from that. But despite those painful facts, most of my videos do get AdSense, and a majority of my income doing this in a full-time capacity comes from ad revenue. So when I remove 50% of my output, possibly, that basically means that I will be losing 50% of my biggest income for the channel. And let me tell you, I'm not at the point financially where that feels good or comfortable to do. But if you're a fan of the channel and a fan of the work I do here, there is a way that you can support it and support this change. And that's by subscribing to my Patreon. This lets me have a definitive and clearly outlined income that might change a little bit here and there, but is normally pretty stable and reliable. AdSense is bad, and sponsorships are only semi-good if they're regular, which currently they are not. I might get one every 3 to 4 months, or I might not get one at all for an even longer gap. At the level I am at currently, the pay on sponsorships is a nice bonus, but unless I'm doing 4 of those a month, I'm not making an income from them. Patreon, though, gives an opportunity to work around that, and ideally, having my Patreon be at the point where it can pay for my food, rent, power, internet, and a little extra for me to, maybe spend on Magic the Gathering cards or the cat that I'm looking to adopt recently. My landlord said I can get a cat. I might be getting a cat soon. That would be awesome, right? A cat. And that Patreon would give me that security blanket to make the channel more flexible to what I think would be good and what I want. But maybe you in the audience need hard figures to convince you. So here those hard figures are. My average costs a month are, in US dollars, because I recognize that's a majority of my audience, $1,100 on rent, $80 on power, $50 on internet, about $500-ish on food, though that one is tricky because it can really go up and down depending on what I'm eating or how I'm eating, but let's just call $500 the average. So all up, we're at about $1,730 US dollars to cover the basic expenses that go into being able to live. Obviously, getting more on my Patreon than that would be super fantastic. It would let me do more fun stuff. But if I wanted the security of being able to survive off of my Patreon alone to keep pumping out these videos, that's the target amount. Now, I also want to discuss here what I can do to improve my Patreon. One of the big things I'm thinking of is a Patreon Discord to allow people at a certain tier, whether $5 or $10, to get access to a place online that I will not leave muted, a pretty huge honor for any Discord channel that I am part of. Trust me, I mute all of them because I don't want to get notifications. It's annoying. If you have any other suggestions that would be doable within my time/financial budget, please throw them in the comments. I'm looking for ideas. The other thing I wanted to talk about was also how I want to make it very clear here that this isn't an ultimatum. A certain scandalous recent YouTuber, James Summerton, obviously, it's all still about James. That's going to be the topic of what not to do as a YouTuber for a solid few months yet, at least. But that YouTuber would make these, threats about how the channel is going to vanish or die unless he could get more money out of people. And that will never, ever happen to this channel. I made videos before they made me any money at all. Look at the Harry Potter video again, for God's sake. 10 hours long, at least 6 months of work, no money. And I will continue making videos regardless of if this whole thing craps out and it stops being something I get income from at all. I like doing videos. I enjoy processing my thoughts on things and discovering new transmedia or transrepresentation to consider. and I enjoy seeing how people interact with my thoughts on it. What I'm trying to say here is that you shouldn't feel pressured to have to spend money out of fear that if you don't, you won't get to see my videos anymore. That will never happen. And you should only support my channel if you are financially able to do so. If I see any fuckers putting their food money or rent money on the table to just help me pay for stuff, I will kick your asses, okay? If you want to support it, do it with money that you don't, need. If you don't support me, the videos will still be here. They'll still get uploaded. They might be a bit rarer or a bit shittier produced, if such a thing is possible, because I'll be probably working a full-time job and trying to make them at the same time. But if you want to support me, that would be great. Anyway, there's the channel update. We're going to move to once every 2 weeks rather than once every week as expected. It might still be a video once every week, I don't know. Hopefully this will improve the quality of my writing, or at least give me more time to feel like I can spend on projects rather than feel like I have to make one a week. And if you want to support this move and are able to do so, Patreon is a good way to do that. Could have probably just said that paragraph right there, but then wouldn't it have been a Lily Simpson production if a video wasn't a rambling mess that was way longer than it needed to be? Also, as it currently stands, this video will not count towards my video once every 2 weeks number because this isn't a real video. And there will be a video out on Doctor Who trans stuff within the next few weeks. Hopefully next week, illness allowing, of course, but we'll see. And then the end of January will also have the My Little Pony trans video. There may be more in between, but those are the definites coming out. Exciting stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching, and hopefully we have a good year ahead of us on this channel, and it keeps being able to be a channel. Here's to 2024.